and hopped on the 210. I'll be frank with you. For the first time in about 5 weeks, I was excited to be going to the office. It's been it's a little bit of a grind the last 5 weeks. I told Diane the other day I have a goal. I have a 24-hour goal to go 24 hours without emailing, texting, talking to, on the phone, or seeing one of the Zeus Pacific's lawyers. And so far, so good. I'm 15 minutes in. And I was saying, man, I'm excited. This is good. And then the freeway backed up, so I thought I better call Diane and say, hey, I might be a little bit late. And then Diane told me, AB's headed to the hospital. We don't know what's going on, but he's got some pain. And so at the encouragement of some of the people in the office, he got his brother. His brother's driving him to the hospital to see what's going on. He has some chest pain in his back and in the front. And he's been dealing with a cold, and maybe nothing more than a reaction to a pretty severe cold that he's had lately, but maybe something else. And then I got a text from Paul. Paul lost a very close friend unexpectedly, and we'll be headed back to Boston at the end of this week. And so I'm just reminded, you know what, life is real. And as wonderful as a place this is to work, doesn't mean life is always absolutely wonderful, but we do have each other amongst us. So what I want to do here for a moment, I just want us to pause and quietly go to prayer amongst ourselves. I want you to pray. I want you to pray for AB, pray for Paul's friend of his family. I want you to pray for all of us. This is a busy time. We're traveling, we're moving around. We see a finish line coming up early May, and we know we got some things that we're not done with yet that we've got to be done. So let's calm our hearts and a moment of silent prayer, and then I will close in prayer, or close that moment of prayer, and we'll get started on today. Well, let's pray. Father, we're reminded that you are on the throne of life, the throne of our lives. And unfortunately, we don't always come to that throne. And sometimes when we do come, we don't come humbly or expectantly or joyously. Sometimes we come with the wrong spirit and the wrong attitude. For that, Lord, I ask forgiveness for my approach to our relationship, my relationship with you. But Lord, I'm reminded you are in charge of everything. Your sovereignty is merciful and full of justice, and that you are in control, and that you are not surprised by anything. And Father, it is through your grace and your mercy that we have this opportunity to serve here at Zeus Pacific, to further your kingdom, to impact young men and women through this thing called sports and competition. Lord, I ask that you would be honored and glorified throughout this entire day, through this meeting, and as we go for this meeting, as we go to our jobs, as we coach young men and women, ask that your spirit would be so prevalent upon us that we will be very alert and aware that our speech and our actions will be honoring to you. And Father, we think of AB, we don't know what's going on, we don't know how serious it is, but we bring him before you because you know how much we care about him. So we ask that you would guide the doctors who examine him, that they will be clear, that they will have clarity about whatever the situation is with him. I ask that you give him peace, give Aaron peace at this moment. And I ask that you heal him, first from this cold, and if there's anything beyond this cold, I ask you to heal him of that. Paul, God, I lift up Paul to you and his friends and the family in this time of devastation and unexpected loss of life. Father, I ask that you would use Paul as he travels back there to be an encouragement, to be a light, that they see hope in Paul and who he is as he goes back there to support his friends, but as he also serves as an ambassador for you. I ask that you keep him safe, particularly in the weather that is back there at this time. Father, I just ask that you would guide us through this job, and you give us clarity of mind, and that your wisdom would prevail upon us, and that, as I've said so many times, would you be glorified through the relationships that we have here in this work. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. Here's what we're doing today. I want to talk about some celebration. We're going to have some coaches come up here, and we're going to celebrate here a little bit about some things that are going on. And just some brief updates from me, and then Mr. Peyton Williams is going to make his first public appearance before us, and take us through some compliance reminders, and then April's going to do some student-athlete well-being stuff for us that we need to be reminded of. And when Luke gets here at the end, Luke LePage has some updates on registration for fall classes and academic advising. So Luke is in another meeting right now. He'll be coming in. But I want to start off first. I'm going to ask, I've asked Tim and Mike to speak. This past weekend, or last week, we had about 15 student athletes back in Birmingham, Alabama for the NCAA Winter Sports Festival. And some great things happened. In fact, we'll put them up here. Our swimming and diving team finished 27th. It's the best finish ever. And we had an All-American. Tamara, do we say Myler or Miller? How do we say it, Tim?
It's just Miller.
It is Miller, even though it's one L. Tamara Miller was our first ever swimming All-American in 1650. You'll see, I'll show it now here on the next slide. And our men's and women were at the indoor championship. The men finished 6th, their best showing ever. NCAA indoors, the women were 15th. That's our best combined showings. Shaquille Chatou won the heptathlon for the second straight year and was an All-American in the 60 hurdles. That's his race. Love that picture. That's a Stephen Hinkle original right there. I think that's a fantastic sports photo. We got the guys suffering the agony of defeat. We got the guys competing hard. We got our guy Shaquille right there in the middle, leaning forward. I love that picture. It's a great picture, Stephen. Corey Reed was an All-American. Eileen Stressling, Sienna Booker, Daphne Chambers are all All-Americans in respective events. And with the 27th in women's swimming and 6th in men's indoor and 15th in women's indoor, you know what I'm saying? Director's Cup points. Love those. Love those Director's Cup points. And we should, I think, Joe, do we know when the next update is? Should be coming probably
Right after basketball.
so probably in about 2 weeks we'll get new Director's Cup updates. So thank you guys for those points. But I've asked, and I'm going to ask Tim to come up first. I want Tim and Mike to share with you and to celebrate what happened in Birmingham, and not just the great accomplishments, but kind of the behind the scenes that we all know, those things that happen off the field, off the court, in the hotel, in the traveling, in the driving, in the conversation. I don't know where Mike or Tim are going to go, but I've asked them if they would just share some encouragement to us about these championship moments that we've had this past week. I'm going to ask Tim to go first, and Tim, when Tim's done, Mike, I'm going to ask you to speak. Just share what's on your heart from what transpired this past week.
Sure. And Mike and I might talk about a lot of the same things, I think. But from day one of the start of the season, I always talked about opportunities with our team. The opportunity to serve, the opportunity to represent, and the opportunity to achieve. And that was kind of the pinnacle of the experience. I didn't know what to expect. Festival year, first festival year that I've been involved with, I believe that we've been involved with, NCAA. And honestly, it was probably one of the best experiences. Coach-wise and athlete-wise, being able to share with one another, being able to see other athletes compete at such a high level in other sports. It really, really, really motivated our athletes, I think track athletes as well, to another level. So behind the scenes, kind of of how it really transpired is we started off with a 2.5-hour drive to Birmingham, Alabama, flying into Atlanta. So we didn't really know what to expect because most of the time we just fly straight in. So that was a little bit of a challenge, but I think we worked through that pretty well. But talking about the opportunity. So we had the opportunity as a swim community to connect with the inner city kids that came in. We were able to converse with them, able to sign autographs. They were able to sit in the stands. So we were able to kind of serve a little bit while we were there at the championships. Representation, that's huge. I hit this home every day with my athletes. I really do. That we have the opportunity to represent Christ in what we do and be a representative of APU. And that's so big for me. I look up to every single person in this room, I honestly do. I know what it takes to be a coach and to the day in and day out of it, and to deal with athletes and to get athletes to perform. And to be able to represent at this level was an amazing experience. And to walk away with, our first national, or our first All-American, to score the most points we've ever scored as a team at the NCAA championships. Super proud of that. And to achieve, to take athletes to this level. We qualified the most we've ever qualified to a national championship meeting. We actually had 4 individuals qualify, 3 swimmers and 1 diver. We took 2 individuals that were relay-only swimmers, and then 1 diver that went what we call Black Tuesday. So you have to qualify in the meet, which she didn't quite make the cut. But we had the most athletes at the meet, so that was great for us and for APU. When I talk about serving, representation, and achieving, that all starts on day 1. It doesn't start at national championships. So that's what I really hit home with my athletes. And from day 1, talking about the opportunity. So for us, I can't say that it was, I can say that it was one of the best opportunities that we've ever had to do all of those things that I talked about. So very thankful for being involved with this university, for my team, and for that experience. So Mike, you want to come up?
How fast did you swim that mile, by the way?
16:52.
Can anyone even run a mile on the track right now?
Bethany.
Let alone get across the pool. That's so fast. Especially for someone who's ever been in the pool, who don't do those kind of things. Yeah, I won't touch on a bunch of the stuff that Tim did, but it was kind of fun to see swim. I remember I got there a day later because we did a little service project even here for 4th and 5th graders at the city of Glendora, a little track meet, so I stayed behind for an additional day. Drove in from Alabama also. We don't experience the kind of weather that they do. I went through a storm for an hour and a half that I actually had to peel my fingers off of the steering wheel because it was just so crazy. But once we got there, this venue, when you walk into, especially track and field, when you walk into that venue, there's nothing like an indoor facility because for the first time for all year almost, you can see across the field. You can see everybody competing. And an outdoor field is so spread out you really can't. And to know that like the top 16 to 17 in the nation are here, it is an incredible meet, it really is. And I was asking Preston, and it's crazy that we're already losing these numbers, but we've already had 9 individual national champions at this level. And had you asked me that like 5 years ago, I'm thinking, yeah, it might take us a while to get to that level, but we're realizing we always were that good. For us specifically and for the university athletic program, we always were that good. And that we were doing the right things, but we had to figure out is how to bring up the bottom to understand and help them understand that everyone matters. how are we going to get as many people there to get those 1 points? Because we took 2 guys back there and we took 6th place, you know? And that's how competitive it is for sure. But to see Shaq, I mean, he's so competitive and he brings out the competitiveness in everybody else too on the team. He's humble, he will be an Olympian, but he's that kind of guy now that we've just, talking about the process, you know, we're chipping away at him between his teachers who care about him, you know, Dave, and he sends an email, hey, Shaq wasn't in class, so I'm like, hey, Shaq, and then we took care of stuff on the track. We got to take care of stuff in the classroom. He goes, Coach, sorry, I'll be on it, so let me know if it's not. But they get it because they realize that, and as we recruited them, we promised them that, but they are more than the points that we expect them or hope that they're going to get at these indoor and outdoor track meets. So, but what we like about it is when we normally travel, and most of you know this, you're traveling with 50, 40, 24, and it's not easy to have those one-on-one times that you can when we go back to indoor and outdoor nationals. Because again, we took 7, maybe we'll take about 14 or 15, but you get a lot more opportunities to spend one-on-one, maybe most of the time would just be small group of athletes that you have a chance to coach and encourage and pour into. I mean, at this level, we remind them, like, you're in this arena, 1, because you worked hard, and 2, because you belong here, you know, so keep doing what you do. And the one thing that I say that we do well is I'm hoping we're all in the same boat, is we encourage our athletes. We don't put the pressure that I've seen on these athletes from other coaches. You know, when you're standing at the rail and you hear somebody just, it's a different kind of a support system, which is not a positive one that we would say. And we know going in, I'm like, oh, this coach is going to be screaming at their athletes. And it's hard for them to compete with one hand on their throat because the coach has told them, I expect you to win and you better win and all of that. And you can just see them fall apart. So, and it was cool to see Tim. I mean, I came into the swim arena looking for him. I saw him in the corner, but I'm like, I'm not going to go bug him. It is really hot and humid in the swim arena. I walked in there with my jeans and shirt, and I'm like, I got to get out of here, man. I was sweating big time. It was so cool to walk 15 feet, and then we're inside the track, you know, inside the stadium there. And didn't get a chance to go to wrestling, but it was fun to see Tim come down and say hi to us and watch a little bit of our competition, and for us to go next door and do the same thing. I mean, I like the festival thought. I'm not sure if it's going to continue. Maybe Preston being one of those guys that's at the top. They spend a lot of money, and I think we enjoy it. We really do. I can tell Tim, I kept calling, what hotel you staying in, when you travel, and I can't wait to see. Hopefully we can watch each other compete. So for that, thanks, you know, for the university, of course. We always say this, but you know, for this the support. We keep reminding the kids, as you already said, you know, go there, compete at the level you've been training at. We're not expecting anything different, and I think that's what we do the best. We don't put that kind of pressure on them. So when they get there, and we have already told them, if you do what it took to get here, you will finish higher up this list. And it's proved itself for the last 3 years, for at least as we're at the NC2A level. So we enjoy it, and glad to be a part of it for sure.
Great. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, I'm reminded, as they talk, we build relationships, which transform student athletes through competitive excellence and experiencing Christ. And this was experiencing Christ and competitive excellence all rolled into one. It's about relationships, what Tim and Mike talked about. And I wish I would remember to get, there's a neat picture, I think Stephen got a neat picture of some of the track and swimmers together there. And I appreciate the support. I think that's one of the things that hopefully will set us apart from other schools of how much we will support one another. And thinking of that, it just reminds me to continue that celebration of things that are going on right now here in the spring. We're having a great spring. Water polo. Just played 11 matches in 8 days, is that what it was? That's crazy. They're 10-8 and excited about the growth of the women's water program under Julie and Sarah. And tennis, men's tennis is like 10-2, and they're tennis. Is Kirby in there somewhere?
He just stepped out.
He just stepped out. and they're rolling along, nationally ranked. Women's tennis is doing what they always do. Baseball's won 15 of their first 18 games. They got two guys with 10 home runs in 18 games. That projects out to about 25, 26 home runs for those guys. They are a blast to watch right now.
Throw it on him now when they only get
And our softball program, they're off to a great start. 19-7, I think is what it is. 18-7, just won 8 of 10 in Hawaii, and that's our best Hawaii trip. We'll talk more about the Hawaii trip in a moment here on department updates. But I'm excited about what's going on. But we know, yes, we teach skill and we teach performance, but so much of that is based on the relationships that we have with these young men and women, and we do inspire them through the relationship and not through the pressure and the intensity that can be overbearing. So I thank you, coaches. Great job, keep it up. Let's talk a little bit about the department updates. I will be up here very shortly. Not a whole lot to talk about. Hang on, let me take that off because it won't come up right. Bethany.
Yes.
All right. Bethany, I'd like you to talk about Saturday night and the Night of Champions that's coming up.
Yeah, so Night of Champions is Saturday. I think I've spoken with quite a few coaches who have graciously volunteered your athletes or voluntold your athletes to come help us this weekend, so thank you for that. If you are around and would like, and your athletes would like to come help, we do need help Thursday and Friday. Every kid that comes gets a Bible and a tract, and so we just stuff them into bags and then put them around Felix. So let me know, I know I've spoken with most of you. And then Saturday, day of, I think it's awesome when we've got 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 junior high and high school students out there, and our student athletes are out there just hanging out, throwing the football, kicking the soccer ball, playing, just engaging with them. It's a great experience. So that is from about 12:30 to 5:30 or 6. So if your kids are around and want to come help with that, we'd love to have them. If you want to come and bring your families, we have wristbands here, which are kind of your tickets in. So, excuse me, we'd love to have you. Starting at about 6 o'clock in Felix will be the indoor program. Koba's emceeing. APU gospel worship band that does chapel will be there. We'll have a Christian rap artist performing. Derek Carr will be speaking from the Raiders, and then an Olympic heptathlete will also be speaking. So that goes 6 to 7:30, 8 o'clock. So let me know if you have questions. I would encourage all of you, we could use a lot of prayer in the next couple days, so even if you can't come but want to take a wristband and just wear it as a reminder to pray for the event, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So, but thank you guys all in advance for your help. It would not happen without this department and all the other departments on campus. So,
You know what? Let me pray.
thank you.
Pray for that chance. Let's bow our heads. Lord, we do thank you for this great ministry that started over 30 years ago as just a vision in some people's heads, and what could we bring to Azusa Pacific, and we're just amazed now. Here we are 32 years later, and there's over 3,000 kids are going to be here, and they're going to be hearing professionals and superstars who have given their lives to you and talk about and give their testimony of your impact upon their lives. So Father, I ask that your Spirit will be upon this campus Saturday, and that you will guide the words of those who are speaking, that you will guide our student athletes as they counsel, as they interact with these junior high and high schoolers, that they will be great witnesses for you. And Father, I ask that this revival that we so desperately need in this country can start right here Saturday night, and that hearts will be changed and will be committed to you. Thank you for this opportunity in your name. Amen. You know, the cool thing is to think about Night of Champions. You know, we have to be so careful about what we say or don't say in our interaction with PSAs. This is P4, I just forgot. Perspective, saying potential. I knew potential and prospective student athletes. And here we are. We're going to have our athletes amongst a bunch of high schoolers and junior hires. And we don't have to guard what we say. We can talk about Christ, and I guess we really can. Can we talk about this specifically? Community engagement. It's a community engagement event. We can do that. But anyway, that's kind of a neat thing on Saturday night, that we can be free of some regulations that are wise, and I understand that we can speak about pricing. Moving on, a week from today, 4 individuals from the NC2A National Office in Indianapolis will be on campus here to get to know about Azusa Pacific through the NC2A's Campus Connect program. They're going to be here all day, but next Wednesday at 10:30, I want our head coaches and our directors to meet with this group in the VIP room at 10:30. Assistants are more than welcome, and support staff are more than welcome to come. I'm just requiring the head coaches and the directors to be part of this. And this is going to be an all-day where they're coming out here to find out about us. They want to know about a Division II school in the West that's private, that's faith-based, that's new to the NC2A. And what they do is they go back to the NC2A National Office and say, hey, this is the experience of Azusa Pacific. This is really about so that they can serve us better as one of their members. They're actually out here for about a week. They're going to be at Occidental. I think they're at Occidental on Tuesday. They're at Azusa Pacific on Wednesday. It's either USC or UCLA on Thursday, and I think they're seeing the Big West Conference office on Friday. But they're out here for a week, and then they're going to go back and report. And Peyton, why don't you tell everyone in here, who are the 4 people that are coming from the NC2A, and what's their roles at the NC2A?
Okay, so leading the group will be Dana Thomas. She helps oversee basically sports and information related to the national office. So she's in that group. They changed their name a lot. I think it's PMR now. But we go through a lot of different acronyms, and so that's like a media relations, publicity and media relations group. She helps oversee that. She's been there for a while, I'm trying to remember the years, but she used to be a runner at the University of Indiana. Has been around athletics throughout. She's awesome to speak with and can give a lot of direction related to how the national office communicates and the issues that go about taking in so much negative or less than positive media interest. And she can answer all kinds of questions. Andy Luthane is in academic and membership affairs. He's an associate director there, expert, been on many campuses related to academics, faith-based and large, Division I otherwise, Marshall, Central Michigan, Michigan State as well. I think BYU Hawaii for a little bit as well. So he may have some feelings about what's occurring with BYU Hawaii. Also, Dino Pollock is part of the Office of Committee on Infractions. So is in that process of the big cases. He's not here to investigate anything. So ask questions. He's not trying to catch anybody by coming out. He's just coming to learn. Played football at the University of Illinois. Went to Valparaiso for law school. Has been at the office, I want to say, maybe 3 or 4 years now. But really straightforward. One of our key people related to diversity and inclusion as well. And then Ali Teopis is in leadership development. Was in championships for Division II. Now is in leadership development. Was a Division III student athlete. Played softball at Denison. He oversees all of the Division II grants. So we have a lot of grants related to bringing in coaches where the NCAA will pay for that coach's salary for a year or a couple years, and then we have to come up with matching funds, but it does start the process. She oversees all of that, all the applications, what to look for. If you're interested or need or have a need or touch base about it, it's a great way to start. There's some graduate intern programs as well that we have in that program that she can talk about. Really intelligent. She's helped with softball youth clinics as well, so she knows about getting engaged in the community as well. But a real good group to get out of the program.
I'm excited about this. Speaking of grants, just so you know, I have applied for an NC2A strategic matching grant for a development officer for athletics. And sometime in early April, I should find out. I'm glad Allie's going to be here because I'm going to rattle her cage to accept our grant. I submitted the grant back in January. It was a lot of fun to do with a lot of people here at Azusa Pacific to put in. But yeah, they fund the position predominantly for 3 years, and then we fund it after that. And so I'll know again in April if we get that position, and that would be great. But here's what I want you to know about this Campus Connect, and here's what I want you to do. When they come, I want you to be able to, I want you to think of questions that you want to ask them about who, what, when, where, and why the NC2A. things that you may wonder, why does NC2A do this, or when do they do this, or what else are they doing? So for the next week, think about questions that you would want to ask them, but then also think about statements that you want to make about Azusa Pacific so that they understand us and understand the West, and they understand, like I said, private, new member, faith-based. So think about statements that you would want to make about Azusa Pacific, because they're learning about us as well. They're going to meet with the president at 9 o'clock in the morning for an hour, and then they're going to come over at the VIP room and meet with us. Then they're going to go to lunch with some of you and with quite a few of our student athletes. And then they're going to get a tour of our facilities. They're going to come to your practices. I'm purposely doing the tour in the afternoons so they come to baseball, softball practice, track, and water polo. If you're going, do not go in the afternoon. Sorry, they won't be there at 6 in the morning. But they're coming by to see your facilities and to watch a little bit of your practice. And then later that night, some of us are going to dinner with them before we release them on to, I think it's USC or UCLA the next day. But again, this is about an opportunity for them to learn about us and to take it back to the national office in terms of serving us and schools like us much better. Anything else about the Campus Connect program, Peyton, that we should know about heading into it?
That covers a lot of it. They may want to take time to engage some of our administrators for their own interests. A lot of them are trying to learn more outside of their area. So if someone's working academics, they may want to hear about development or fundraising or some of those issues, or game management. They're all trying to increase as administrators to better serve themselves, but to really get the membership going. They don't get out much from Indianapolis. There's only championships, they get festivals, so they get out. But other parts of the office, there's over 500 people who work at the national office. They're there day in, day out, and during the snow and everything else, doing all the work behind the scenes, but they don't get to see the impact of their work on campuses. So there are opportunities to meet student athletes, there are opportunities to see coaches, to see administrators, to see the outcomes of the work that they do, good and especially the bad part. Because like I was in Justin's office yesterday, and we were talking with Corey, and Corey's trying to figure out the process of selections. It's administrators that come from campus to there to try to change legislation or update things. And those individuals work on it, but they don't get to see the impacts of all those things. And this is a great opportunity for you to do that.
This is I don't mean to bag on the NEI, because I really did love our time in NEI, but the last 5 years at the NEI National Office, their administrative staff were all people who had never worked on campuses, and they were starving to understand what a campus operates like, and it was great frustration, because they just didn't understand the athletics of the campus. And so I think it's a great thing that NC2A is doing, is giving people out to understand the campus. So thank you. Peyton and Callie are working on the finalizing the schedule for next Wednesday. Other things, there's the Night of Champions. I didn't know when it was going to become up. New student orientation. I'm going to keep my opinions to myself, okay? I'm not going to share my opinions, but here's the deal. Remember I told you that June 21, 22, 23 were mandatory, and there's a makeup on August 24th? The August 24th makeup is off. They took it away. So in my opinion then, it must not be mandatory. So here's the deal. It's, from an athletic standpoint, it's not mandatory. You do not need to force your student athletes to go. If they want to go to one of the newcomers want to go to the 21st, 22nd, 23rd of June, by all means encourage them to do it. It's no longer mandatory, okay? Things are just, that pendulum keeps swinging back and forth. So I just want you to know, okay? Encourage, but don't make it mandatory. And if they miss it, big deal.
Gary,
Yes.
we probably do want to encourage them to do their placement testing ahead of time though, because if they don't, then they'll need to do that on that welcome weekend, and that you're not making mandatory either, so at least their placement testing, if they can do that, that would be really helpful.
Okay. Offsite May department meeting. What you know, I'm working on us having an offsite, well, I'll tell you, we're at Courtyard Marriott. Courtyard Marriott. Is Peter in here? Right, Peter.
No,
Peter's not.
kid's sick.
Courtyard Marriott has said, hey, we want the Azusa Pacific athletic staff to come over, spend the day, we're gonna give you guys some food and hang out with us. And we can just hang out and do some different type of meeting stuff, not all this informational stuff. To be honest with you, and I'll be frank with you, Paul and I have been talking about this, I'd like to spend some time getting some feedback from you guys and some processes and procedures that maybe we need to change to better serve the coaches. And Paul and I have been talking about drug testing. So it's not so invasive to practices. Not that drug testing is wrong, certainly you guys are all for drug tests, but is there a better way to do drug testing so it's not so invasive? Talk about switching over to Google Drive. The university wants us to switch to Google Drive. How many of us are doing it? Do we do some training on that Google Drive? And thinking some other things. So I just want you to know, it really depends. I know when track is competing. It just kind of depends on what Paul and Carrie do in postseason as to when we have, this might be a early June meeting. Here's what I would like for you to do. If you have vacation plans, will you start getting those to Diane? When are you going to be gone? That will help me also. Maybe we might do this the first week of June if I know you guys are going to be around. But with some of the success that's going on around here, it may be hard to do this in May. Okay? Insurance and Hawaii travel. This is not to throw Carrie under the bus. We just learn more. Every time someone goes to Hawaii, we learn more. I'll be honest with you. I think the next Pac West meeting, I'm going to say we need to kick out the Hawaii schools. Forget how beautiful it is over there. Our last 2 flights over there have been canceled, right? Women's soccer and softball. Well, no, women's soccer, I'm sorry. You guys got over there, okay. Women's soccer and basketball got their flights canceled. Let's see, we've had tennis, cross country, women's basketball, and now softball all had damage or theft in their vehicle. What, cross country, they took bats to your vans or something, and so it happened to Carrie. Carrie at 7 a.m. takes her team out to go watch the sunrise. All right, we should do that. They got hit and dashed and took equipment out of there. So here's what I'm also saying about insurance in Hawaii. We want them to purchase what?
That rental additional insurance, that they always probably ask you, and we've always been told we don't need to do that. But I'm thinking it probably is a good idea in Hawaii because it would cover some of the minor charges, I believe, because our deductible's $1,000, and so Carrie's van that got hit, it didn't even hit that threshold, but which means that we are going to have to pay that. And so the additional insurance, which I don't think costs very much, I'm thinking it's maybe $20 or something.
Because it's
Yeah.
only,
Yeah,
it's
it
only
might
the
be.
damage to the vehicle, right, that we're talking about, not the stuff that was stolen?
No, just the damage to the vehicle, the window to be replaced, yeah. So only when you travel to Hawaii, not other places. When you travel to Hawaii, purchase this insurance just for your rental vehicle. And then put a guy with a pellet gun off in the weeds. Hide him.
Yeah.
It's just happens all the
Takes
time.
insurance.
Um,
Nate's Uncle Guido.
Does that make sense, what I'm saying about Hawaii? Trying to think if there's anything else I want to add. I think I am done. Any questions for me? Anything that I didn't talk about, Diane, Joe, April, anything else? Okay, Mr. Peyton Williams. Let me say this as Peyton comes up. Come on up, Peyton. I'm going to talk about it, Jim. By the way, I changed it a little so it fit right into my same words. I've been very impressed. Peyton's in his 3rd week. I've been very impressed with Peyton and how he has just moved in and has tried to learn us. The other day I took him to the Student Life Directors Meeting. There's about 40 people in there. And Peyton stood at the door of the PDR, President's Dining Room, and shook the hand of everyone and introduced himself as he came. He's like the usher at church, handing out bulletins. As every person walked in, he said, "Hi, I'm Peyton Williams, new director of compliance and academic support and athletics." And just met everybody. And he's been all over campus. I believe most of you have had your one-on-one with him to get to know him. And I am so appreciative of his insight. As we interviewed him, one thing that we were all excited about was the global knowledge that he would bring, and he has certainly been very helpful with me in understanding what other schools do, what the NC2A wants. But Peyton, I appreciate your humility. You worked so well with Callie, and Callie, thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for bridging. Thank you for the transition. Your attitude and humility has been wonderful. But I'm really excited about what you're going to do with us in our leadership. I've seen the slides today. It's going to take us through some reminders, some things that we always got to be reminded about today. So he's got about 20 slides, and then April's got some slides to put together that she's going to present, and then we're also going to have Ruth. But I'm going to hand it over to you, young man. It's all yours. Here you go.
Really quick before I get started, for those of you who I have not met yet, hello. Separate from all that, if I haven't gotten to your team jet, that's coming as well. I'm gonna just stop by practice, 2 or 3 minutes, be very quick. I'm very blessed and fortunate to be here. For those that haven't grabbed my background, I worked at the national office for 7 years. I practiced law before that, was able to play professional football briefly with a couple of teams before I had a career-ending injury. So I know the importance. I love to strive and compete and win, but being able to balance that with your academics is important to me as well. So having a role where I get to support compliance and academics is a true blessing for me. Being able to do it at a place like APU where you get to share your faith is very special. Best moment, best part of working at the NCAA, I worked with the Division II Student Athlete Advisory Committee. I worked to recruit the students, kind of retain them, mentor them, get them through, teach them about the legislation, and then they would vote on behalf of the student athletes. We worked to get them where they have a chance to vote on the floor at convention now. They didn't have that before. But the best part about doing that is our last meeting, and my last meeting with them before I came here, our chair, his father had multiple bypass surgery and had complications. So he had to leave, and in the middle of it, he was torn up because he's the leader, he's the one who kind of helped spearhead the vote. He's like, I have to be there to vote. We're telling him, no, you have to go be with your father. You're the man of the family. This is the time to do that. He's completely broken up over this. He's crying and everything. And we're an NCAA group, people from all over the country, 2 people from Canada, a couple people from South Africa, all different sports, all different backgrounds. And they all get together and they start praying for him. Middle of our meeting, 10 minutes, hands held, and they're going, and one of the kids just takes the lead, starts praying, everybody joins in, and that's the moment he's like, yes, this is right. We go, he goes, his dad's okay, but that sort of moment doesn't happen at that sort of place. It's tough to do, it's difficult to try to talk about it, and this group that we had a chance to mentor went for that moment. These feelings of revival are there, and having an opportunity to be at a place like this to continue to help our young people nurture that is very special. I'm very proud and thankful to be here. Separately, Callie, you were talking about being able to log in, because I think their version, we had some updates. Is there potentially?
It'll take a little bit. You can log in on this computer.
Okay.
You have it open on your computer?
Yes.
Do you know how to mirror the screens?
Fix the ratio.
I don't know. You get the most. You're at the end of it though, so you have to. Yeah. Go back.
Yeah, it's on my.
I got it by the time I got it. They came by.
Okay, while they do this, this is good they do this. Just a reminder, today, women's tennis is playing Hawaii Pacific, big match. I encourage you, if you got some time, to walk out there. Tonight, acrobats and tumbling,
Let's go
is
steal
taking
their
on
stuff.
Wisconsin. Pardon?
Nate and I are gonna go steal their stuff.
Tonight, acrobats and tumbling, what time is acrobats and tumbling? 6:30 against Concordia, Wisconsin. Tomorrow, softball is battling Academy of Art for first place in the Pac West at 4 o'clock. Doubleheader starting at 4 o'clock on the field. So if you guys are having practice, and your practice ends around 4:30, 5 o'clock, send your athletes over to support softball. And I think we have a free week. I mean, Paul is traveling up to the Bay Area this weekend, and you have the weekend off. And track has nice champions, but some are going to Point Loma.
Point Loma, just the distance.
Okay, very good. And tennis after Hawaii Pacific, Kirby. Hawaii Pacific tonight, and then what?
Wash U on Friday, just met.
Washington University out of St. Louis on Friday. Great, okay. You guys ready to roll?
Your arrows should go through too. Your arrows will put through it.
Okay. So, apologies for logo errors and things of that, still learning. As we go, you will see photos of movies. When we have a chance, you will have an opportunity to win and earn candy and all that good stuff as we go with our lessons. These are all general tips and reminders. We'll get rolling with other types of rules education. As you see things or you have questions, feel free, if you have interpreter stuff, email us, let us know, hey, you got this question. Gives us a record, gives you a record of the outcome, and gives us something that we can always look back at, that becomes more of our learning and teaching as we go. So it might be an answer we give to you, but then it becomes answer we give to everybody else, and also answer that we can give through sessions and things that you can share as we go. Because you'll always have that written record instead of trying to remember back to whatever discussion we had in the hallway. We know there's gonna be times when you need us in the hallway. We'll still be there for that. With those bigger issues and questions that you think you might need help with, shoot it to us through an email. We'll be able to turn it around and get it back to you as soon as we can. Okay, so there's that window. First starting point, just, pay no mind, just a reminder to say, hey coaches, we will have our exams coming up on those days, April 19th and May 2nd in Duke 118 at those times. So that's our circle. We'll use other coaches at other times as well. This does include assistant coaches, even though we only included head coaches there.
I'll be emailing out the dates as well with the new legislation and the handbook and all the normal resources that you get, but we just wanted to get you guys the dates so you can have them on your calendars.
Okay, so our group in overseeing compliance and academics, our mission is to provide excellent customer service to our staff and student athletes through direct, intensive communication, attention to detail, insightful analysis, and robust education to ensure consistency. Continue to question us on that. If we're missing it or we're not hitting the mark, just let us know. We want to hit the mark, and we want you to know what our mark is. So as we go, continue to ask us questions. Let your student athletes know we're there to help. We're not there to condemn or do that sort of stuff. We're all educating and learning as we go, whether it's they're struggling in classes, whether they're having issues with study hall. However that goes, we want to be there to help them along the way, and we want to be there to help you along the way as well. Okay, real quick, just a care reminder with our good old Homer meme. When you're looking at voluntary workouts, you as coaches, don't observe and monitor, let them be voluntary workouts, shoot-arounds, extra swings, swim, surfs, things they want to do on their own. Let them have that chance to experience and develop on their own, get their own camaraderie as they're going through those voluntary workouts. Promotional activities. There have been some changes to promotional activities, some unique, some that give us some opportunities for other areas. But the key, and something we need to track on, that actually turned into secondary violation, not of ours, but we had an individual that went to an FCA event with a high school, and that makes sense. We want them to go out to our FCA members, explain their testimony, what it's like, to be them, to be a Christian, to be a student athlete. That's what we want them to do. But we had the high school group that tweeted, came with a photo saying he's going to be there alongside the Jersey Mike's logo, and that free subs are going to be there for Jersey Mike's. So you got a Jersey Mike's logo and our student athlete all together. Same tweet, looks like a promotional issue. It's a secondary violation on a misuse of our student athlete related to a commercial product. We just write it up, send it in, doesn't impact student athletes' eligibility. Similarly, doesn't impact student athletes' eligibility, but something that we need our student athletes to do is when they have promotional opportunities, like they're going out for FCA, or somebody else is saying, hey, we want to see you, we want you to come and do these sort of things. They need to communicate those things to us, and we need to be able to sign off on them so we know that there aren't other things going on. Because it's one thing, hey, you're going to go talk to these kids at a church, and then the church is on the side, you know, selling all sorts of different stuff, or they're promoting it and we don't know that they're promoting that such and such student athlete. We want to be aware of where our student athletes are and how those promotional activities happen. When that doesn't happen, or we don't get a written approval, it's just a secondary violation to that student athlete. And then we fill that thing out. So it doesn't impact their eligibility, but it's something we want to track and monitor related to what's occurring. Separately, legislative change allows for kind of some of these programs you may have seen with some of your schools, with your kids' schools or youth organizations, where you say, hey, bring in this flyer on this night, and people that are buying food, they bring in this flyer, 20% of the proceeds of that sale go to X program. Those sort of things our department can be part of, and our student athletes can promote that. So if it's, hey, soccer, athletics, come on into Chick-fil-A, Five Guys, or whatever on Tuesday night, and you'll help the program. But yeah, they're gonna go get a burger anyway. Whatever proceeds would go, it's fine to do that sort of promotion. So it's a great opportunity when we're operating in that way to be able to utilize promotional activities, our student athletes on social media in a way that's helpful to us. Okay, transportation reminders. These are permissive areas, not things that have to be done. So, institution can provide reasonable local transportation on an occasional basis to student athletes. That's typically like once a quarter, something comes up, you're able to provide it. You don't have to. It's just permissive. You find somebody in a pinch, something occurs, you could do it. Don't have to do it. Similarly, transportation between campus. So spring break, got to get to a bus station. Nobody really uses a bus station anymore, maybe they do. Train station or airport at any time for any reason. We can provide that. So in the school year, get them to the station. Spring break, get them somewhere if they need to, then we can be able to do that for them for that opportunity. So it's just a reminder, you don't have to do it. You know, someone just comes to you very, very last minute. You don't have to drop everything and do it for them just because it's there, but it's there. Yes?
So I have a question. If a kid's out at soccer and he's the last one there and I'm coming over, can they ride on the gator over?
Not every single time.
But occasionally?
Yes.
Oh.
That's the Peyton ruling. We've discussed this. Jane,
No, I
Jane,
thought-
Jane has shut that down. No gator riding.
Hi.
Who's Jane? Jane.
All right. I'll talk that through. The legislation says that you can, on an occasional basis, not every single moment, every single practice, but it's there.
Thanks.
We'll go Peyton rule.
Can we vote Jane out?
I like that a little better.
Pat, what's
Okay, another one, this one we'll have to talk through, but this is a heads up. I got an email from the head of the Criminal Justice Department who said, hey, we have a lot of student athletes, the philosophy of our department, pitch in, let's be there for our students. So our faculty wants to take students in general to lunch. Can they do that for student athletes? A lot of student athletes are doing criminal justice. Can we do that? You can. Of course, there's all sorts of little nuances to it, so we're gonna go over and talk with them so they know the nuances and they don't go anywhere beyond meals. But in the locale of the institution, to the student athlete, or if they wanted to a team, on infrequent and special occasions, that is one time a year. Don't stretch that out. Special occasions, your anniversary is special. Your birthday is special. This isn't Monday, Wednesday, Friday, after every class, you're buying lunch and you're getting sushi, or we're heading over to a super place in Pasadena or down in Covina or something like that. Something real basic, once a year. Separately, another discretionary tool, just, you guys know your student athletes, you know their families, you know needs. On an occasional basis, again, have the ability, a meal for a relative and or legal guardians of a student athlete. Wouldn't make a practice of it just because of what expectation that is and the separation between your team of who's getting what. But if there's a back end to it, there's an opportunity there. But be very limited in how you do it. If it's there, you've just got that in your back pocket. Yes?
So are we defining an occasional meal here as one per year now?
I would say no. Occasional will probably be more quarterly than anything, but because it's relative legal guardians and you're trying to balance a team situation, I personally wouldn't get beyond just doing it on a one-off, because then all of a sudden you get different expectations. But the technicality concept of occasional is typically quarterly. Special event is typically 1 year. Okay, now we're to very basic, very basic reminders, but in light of grade checks coming in, and in some cases not coming in, reminder for your student athletes, the continuing academic eligibility requirements are there listed. I won't belabor the point, but just a reminder to give as they're getting into crunch time with this semester, that that's what they're looking for related to their targets for continuing eligibility for next season.
Just a reminder with that too, for those athletes that are needing summer school, we've been aware of the ones that are a little bit short, and you should be, those of you that have student athletes that we know will need summer school have been told. We're also following up with them again later in the semester between Luke today and myself. But you will also be reminded at the end of the semester as well, just to keep an eye on them to make sure that they're completing those units if needed.
Okay, first movie, who's got it?
Coach Carter.
Who said that? No, that's why you ride on everything. There you go.
Thank you.
Bonus question, anybody know the town in California that was?
Richmond.
Peyton, you're an athlete, yep? You can throw those to the coaches, I hope they can catch.
I'm trying to give more than one.
Oh, okay.
So that's where that comes from. So yes. No, it's like 3 of them. So I got like 3 in hand. Okay, so just a reminder of the 5th semester. As you have students that are thinking about it going into our fall, they do need to declare that before the start of their 5th semester. If you have those who are already past that point, those credit numbers where you're talking about 9, 18, and 24 have to be what can be used towards your declared degree. If you have folks that, for whatever reason, are back and forth and are hemming and hawing with Luke or somebody else, they need to have targeted their declared degree, not the one that they're trying to get towards, or the one they're going to change towards for upcoming semester.
And are we
Yes.
still going to you real quick, like if one of our athletes needs summer school and we can get the cost of attendance for summer, if we're going to give them room and board or whatever, does that number still come from compliance, or is that Heather, or who?
It's coming, it's coming.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
Yep, working on it.
okay,
Yeah.
just making sure.
Again, documentation, degree, verbal declarations, and changes done. All right, another quick reminder, 2-year college transfer requirements, your coach contacts at these 2-year schools, student athletes who are interested, current references and future references. You can use this as basically a great starting point for those student athletes and for those coaches as they're thinking and going through these semesters, especially those who may need to get going for the summer. When they're talking about English and math and science, it's transferable credits to our university, not just what they're knocking out there, whether it's remedial. So you have that information. Okay, initial eligibility. So the folks coming in, you guys know this already set. The numbers to the right, where we're talking about March 2016 SATs, there's a new SAT test that started around that time. There's a concordance scale that's been set. Individuals that took those tests have those different numbers. The Eligibility Center is putting together what that all means. That's the number score they need to see if they're taking a test now currently. Then you see that 900 number. That's weird compared to everything else, but that's what transfers to the typical 820 that you're looking at. Movie listed. We'll go there and we'll go there.
That's how Penny got it. She's not raising her hands anymore.
Penny ended up at the
Magic.
I was gonna scream it, but I'm like, no, you just said you knew that.
All right, initial eligibility. There's that flow chart there. For those who aren't flow chart people, but that's
Give him the moon ball.
how it looks. Don't worry about it. That's just for people that get confused. There's a different way to look at it. It's a much easier way to look at it.
Take it off. Pause.
Olympics. It's good in the bag.
You got games. High school. High school music.
This is for those.
How do you know that?
Those who get freaked out by flow charts and not by High School Musical. Fall of 2018. So your seniors, your juniors, going forward, these are your new requirements. 2.2 GPA in those 16 core courses. If you're back at that 2.0 level, they can still receive aid and they can still practice. But it's now sliding up to 2.2 in those 16 core classes. The other two movies besides...
You got games.
Oh, it's love basketball.
You gotta say it at the same time.
Every girl loves loving basketball. I don't know how to get it. Yeah, every girl. It's fun.
Okay, the 16 core looks like that. 3 years of English. You guys can read through it. You guys have been sending out those keys. Movie.
Friday night.
You're a football guy, so all right, and again, okay, two movies.
Prefontaine is the lower one.
Oh.
That's right. Is that Boys in the Hood? Huh? Is that Boys in the Hood?
Who said that?
To say that.
Give a little rhetoric.
What's the?
Maybe?
Because remember, Ricky had trouble with the.
You're right.
Ricky had trouble with the SAT.
Yep.
Yeah, more people.
Okay, so this is my home. That's fine.
Does that mean Prefontaine had trouble with the AAU?
Yes, fair enough. So the updated folks, for those who have not taken the SAT yet, in our legislation, it's 840. That's how we said, hey, updated, new changes. Well, the SAT changed. So those students, the 840 that they're looking for, that the Eligibility Center is going to find, they will find it when they hit a 920 on this new test. It's
Wait, why is it 900 before?
old system. So when you're looking at fall 17 kids coming in, if you're finding someone they haven't taken an SAT yet and they're trying to come in the fall as a freshman, yeah. So they're looking for, even though everyone's calling and telling them, hey, you need to get an 820. and then they might come back with the actual score and they took the SAT in June, and they're saying, I got an 820. That's awesome. The concordance isn't gonna say you got an 820, it's gonna say you got a lower score. The updated test, they need to be saying, I've got a 900. That equates to what we see in our book and what the Eligibility Center sees as the old 820. When you come to the fall 18 folks, so they're still in high school, they're gonna come around, graduate next year, they're gonna come to us, but you're starting to recruit them now, you're gonna go out and recruit them. They haven't taken the SAT yet. They're looking at that as their target score number to get to that number, based on their math and critical reading scores. You can't combine old scores with new scores. So if there's someone who's taken the test before that March number, that March 2016 they took a test, they can only match with whatever test they've taken before March 2016. You can't look at pre-March 2016 scores and try to take that math with a new critical reading. These are all things the Eligibility Center is going to take care of, but they're confusing things to the student athletes and their parents, and a lot of times their coaches or whoever's telling them to go take the test again. All these things get quantified at the Eligibility Center. The Eligibility Center understands kids are going to get caught up in it, and they have waivers available for that, and then we'll have waivers in the process if they don't hit those numbers. ACT still stays the same, 68 for fall 2017 enrollees, moving up to 70 for fall 2018 enrollees. I know that's a lot, we'll be around for all of you. Okay, this is just breaking down what I said about the concordance. Anybody know this movie besides Callie?
Double team.
Yes, thank you.
It's a Disney movie.
Did they
Who said that?
Good one. He was like, I need a female
Who said
athletic.
Kirby.
I thought it would be bad to be like League of Their Own, and I found another one in there, but I thought it'd be bad to be League of Their Own.
Come on.
Discrepancy in baseball versus softball.
Oh, it's a good movie.
It'll be coming. It'll be coming.
Crying in baseball? We had to watch it on the bus, it's not great.
Okay, again, here's the difference. You're looking at your full qualifier update, partial qualifier update. There's your link to it. If this is something you want to send along to parents, student athletes, hey, this is where you can find it. This is what you're looking for. This is what they can track on. Those are their new targets. Coaches, travel ball coaches, all those people that you contact with that may be confused by it, that link, more than anything, even though you can go through the eligibilitycenter.org, that link gets you the table that counts to be eligible for Division II athletics. International PSA reminders come from our international office and Corey Justice of things that help them out as they're trying to evaluate international PSAs, and that many of you who went through the process can attest to as well. You want them to come in, give you a list of every school they've attended, high school, post-high school. They want to be enrolled at the Eligibility Center. They want to be aware that ACP-processing, that's the email that's going to come from the Eligibility Center related to amateurs and certificates. They want to make sure that that is okay and not going to their spam or to their junk mail because it looks like a spam or a junk mail email. But making sure that that ACP processing, that's where they're going to get communication, that's where they're going to send communication related to amateurs. Providing all their transcripts from every institution, if they're international, got to be translated and originals. So making sure they've got all that information set and squared away. The TOEFL scores, that's the number for getting in here at APU, or proof of prior studies in English. We've seen that with some of our soccer students as they're being recruited, that they've taken some English courses, so they were able, once they work with the international office, to opt out.
Just a reminder too, this past year we had about 22 internationals. It's the most we've had in athletics in many years. There will be a mandatory meeting late August, early September for all international student athletes in order for the university to collect the proper paperwork that they need. It may take some of your athletes out of practice, and we'll get you that date as we get closer. But they're going to have to produce their I-9 and their visa and some other things. It doesn't matter whether they're transferring from a JC here in the United States to here, If they are an international student on a visa or passport here in the United States, we have to reprocess them. And so there'll be a mandatory meeting, like I said, late August, early September, that they're gonna have to attend. It may take them out of their practice for a day. Yes, Mike?
Is this new international students or all of
Yeah,
them?
yes, it is,
It's all new.
yes, it's all new.
It's
Yeah.
just the international orientation.
Yeah,
So for
but
them
we
it
even
is-
pull them out of that orientation just for that athlete. That's right. Okay.
Again, the other part that helps with the early, bringing in the transcripts, you take a chance to look at GPA. Our institution can get a quicker look at potential academic scholarships for those student athletes as well early in the process. Okay, updates to legislation, hardship waiver and season of competition waiver changes coming forward. Injuries after August 1, 2017 will be under a new requirement of 30% of the season, where you can still get into a hardship waiver, but must happen in the first half of the season. There will be a table coming out that explains what the first half of the season means, what that entails, sport by sport, season by season, where that number is of the first half of the season for those discussions about, hey, should this person, do they have the ability to come back? What happens if they compete in the second half of the season? All those talking points that everybody has related to injuries. We'll have that table, we'll have that at the front to you. They have a version of it, it's been tough to print out, but we'll get it around to everybody. Injuries that occurred before, so if someone's transferring in or had something happen at a previous institution, it remains under the current legislation. It was an injury that happened prior to August 1, 2017. That is 20% or less of a season, and you have the entire season to utilize. There is no first half component. So that's that difference there. Season of competition waivers operate the same way. They go up to 30% and need that first half of the season requirement as of August 1, 2017. Financial aid changes, just gonna keep it very brief. As you're visualizing and your roster management and your financial aid management going forward, when you're looking at 2018-19, these three changes are occurring as of 2018-19. You can increase athletics aid at any time to student athletes for any reason. Athletics aid must be provided over 1 year, with some small exceptions in there. If someone's in their final semester, and they need less, they only need one more semester. They've got different exceptions in there for that, but in general, 1 year aid. Also, and the biggest one, only athletics aid, not overall institutional aid provided, will count towards equivalency in team aid limits going into 18-19. So your students that are doing well academically, that aid that's coming in, that other institutional aid gets separated out. It's only the athletics aid provided will go towards equivalency team aid limits. 2018-19, not this upcoming year, 1 year to prepare, year to work with financial aid, year to work with us, year to get all that squared away of how you want to utilize the funds you have available to help support your student athletes. Okay, in the interest of time and getting everybody else up here, if you guys have questions, we are in the office to be able to do so related to that. And then our contact information, well, mine, you guys already know how to find Callie, how to contact her in every way, shape, or form, because she's awesome. But that's office line, cell phone, and then we started our Twitter at APU Compliance. If you guys have questions or need a way to reach out, and we will be using that to communicate out as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Clayton. April's got something she wants to share, but while she prepares to get that ready, we're gonna have something from Luke. Luke, you get ready to think of what you're gonna say. Just want to remind you, something else I forgot to share with you about the beginning, about everything that's going on this week. Two of our tennis players, Sunday, were in an accident out on the 10 freeway on their way up Indian Wells to watch a tournament out there, in which their front axle broke and the car flipped pretty bad. Put two of them in the hospital. Oliver Frank and Shep Newcomb, and they're both okay. They're both on campus, and they're okay.
Shep was knocked out and has quite a concussion, and Oliver's face is all messed up. But if I understand what happened, they were going 70 miles an hour, and their axle broke, and the car, it was a pickup, just rolled. And really, we're pretty fortunate to have both of them here. It's rather amazing they're walking. And keep them in your prayers. But also this is a reminder to you, if ever any of your athletes are involved in non-athletic incident that takes them to the hospital, let me know. April and her team will always let me know when someone goes to the hospital for an athletic-related injury. But if ever there's an incident in which one of your athletes heads to the hospital, let me know in case I need to alert student life, campus pastor's office, get involved. In fact, we're now trying to look about getting Oliver some counseling because Oliver was awake through the entire accident, and when it stopped, he was laying next to Shep, who was knocked out cold, but he didn't know he was knocked out. He was worried about whether Shep was alive or not, and Shep was in blood, and Oliver's got blood all over his face. So it can be a pretty traumatic experience, and we want to give them the resources possible. So just a reminder, always let me know. April, just a couple minutes and go with what you've got. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did want to present this to you today. So if you haven't been aware, your student athletes that are on the SOB are doing a great job. And they have had this desire to do, they initially called it King of the Zoo a year ago, where it's a contest where they do a lip sync and a talent, and they do a dance. They have to do a choreographed dance. And the whole deal is meant to make money for Make-A-Wish. So they found out about it. I guess Dominican does it. They raised a couple grand up there. And so our students have been really excited about it. We've had thing after thing that's been obstacle gotten in our way. An $800 IT bill to have the sound for the day. I've gotten that down. And then there was a controversy over that it was initially only King of the Zoo. Now it's King and Queen of the Zoo. So the students got a lesson on not alienating certain parts of gender, and so anyway, all that to say, they are incredibly passionate about this event. We've had so many roadblocks, it's a little bit last minute coming out, but it's important to them, and so I hope you can help me with it. So if you can help promote this on your teams, and if you have there on the Twitter, APU SOB, it's at APU_SAC. And then the Instagram, if you can get your phones out and like the things they've posted or write them down and then get your athletes to do it. They're really rushing to get applicants by Friday so they can get them going and vet the candidates. But like I said, this is really important to your students. Michael Fairchild, the president, they've worked tirelessly on this. So if you can do whatever you can to help get your people blowing it up, that would be fantastic. Like I said, they've been very humble, they've grown a lot, and they've learned a lot, and so I really like this to be. So we'd love for you guys to be there at the event, to help donate to Make-A-Wish, and then just help promote it on your teams. I would greatly appreciate that, because it's really important to them, and so I want it to be as successful as we can be for them. So I'll postpone the rest.
Thank you. Thank you. And then Luke is going to talk to us a little bit about student registration, and that's been, I forgot about that. Thanks for bringing that battle up. We got a meeting today at 2 o'clock to try to hopefully lock down some adjustments and changes that are happening to it. But Luke, tell us what's going on with that.
Yeah, so for the fall, they're changing the format for new student scheduling. So all students across campus are going to now register themselves, which is going to be a joy. So our office is going to be auditing all that. Gary, Carly, myself, Peyton, Callie, we've all kind of worked with Steph, Angie over in One Stop, Vicky, we have our meeting today, but trying to make sure that we can still have student athletes have priority registration in some way, shape, or form. We're trying to work on that. We're even trying to see if we can put them in their sport classes ahead of time so then they can't drop it or change it, so then there's no practice or time conflicts. We're gonna create a document for each sport and each student athlete so that they know what courses to look for. We're still trying to push back, trying to create some different opportunities and things so we can hopefully make it easier. But the biggest thing we need from coaches as you recruit student athletes as they're coming in, if you guys can let them know to keep an eye out for emails so we can walk through all this with them. I'm gonna be their point of contact once they start rolling into classes. So you guys all probably have my cell phone number or 1,000 grade check emails from the past. Always feel free to give me a call if you have people that are having issues, can't get into classes right away. I can work with them, I can help them out. We are trying to push it if there isn't great response from student athletes, so we can kind of get the ball rolling and enroll them starting in May before everyone else gets to start enrolling. But we really need you guys to push and make sure that they're checking their emails, that they're getting those things. I know there's gonna be summer tournaments, games, things like that, where there's gonna be issues for a lot of our first generation students. They're not gonna know what an academic catalog is or things like that, so there's gonna be a huge learning curve thrown at them, especially for those students that are not in the area. So we're gonna do everything we can to help out and go through, but we just need you guys to partner and to kind of trust us on that as we push through. So we'll keep you posted as things change today with the meeting.
Real quick, April had a point about the assessment test. Placement test?
Yeah.
How early?
So those, we're trying to get confirmation. They're gonna open up hopefully math at the beginning of April. In the past, we have been able to override the math requirement for student athletes, and then as long as they take it in the summer, then they will be placed into a math class, and then we'll audit that. Math is now gonna be a co-requisite with GE 100 for the upcoming semesters, so some type of math. So that will all be communicated to your incoming student athletes.
Any questions for what Luke just said? You guys understand what he's saying?
I'm sorry? No, the math requirement that's in the GE catalog, that's gonna be a co-requisite with GE 100. So they have to take math and first year seminar that first semester. That way we don't have juniors and seniors trying to get into school business that haven't touched math yet. So.
Why does that answer your question or your question?
I'm just curious about the priority registration.
So am I.
Kind of waiting.
Yeah, so we're pushing for new students. Current student athletes, they still register April 3rd and 4th. They have priority registration. But for the incoming ones, we're pushing to see if we can't get them to register a little bit earlier. So.
We haven't come to Jesus meeting this afternoon. It has been a battle for a month.
Yeah.
On this. And just, you know, we support, their philosophy is we gotta quit holding the hands of students, and they've gotta figure out how to do this on their own, and I get that. The problem was with the NC2A Progress Toward Degree, and the fact that we do recruit quite a few first gens, and because of our CARA account and our practice schedules, we've gotta have priority registration, and we've gotta help our new students, because if they have a bad first semester here, we're looking at possible wasted scholarships and loss of student athletes and retention gets hurt. And so we have been working on this. And so today is hopefully a parting of the Red Sea.
Gary, just for clarification, so I understand, the priority registration, is that going away for all athletes or just new students?
Just the new students, we're still pushing to have a different option for them. Current student athletes still have priority registration April 3rd and 4th.
Okay, perfect.
But new students.
So, yeah, remind student athletes to check their accounts to see if they have holds now. That way it's not the day they're supposed to register and then they realize they have a hold where it's gonna take 2 weeks or long.
Okay.
So they're registering for fall, April 3rd.
Yep, emails have gone out for all that stuff.
Okay, any questions for Luke? We all good? Any last questions for me?
Gary, I have something real quick.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold up very much, but Ryan Reynolds, who is the head coach of Drury Swimming for the past 30 years or so, stood in front of the coaches at the NCAA meet and talked about the challenges that he faced this year. First up was a hazing incident that took place amongst his team. So he's working with the university and with the NCAA, talking about trying to put together more protocol to be able to better equip coaches with and for those before those incidents happen. He just was adamant about saying that you never know until it's too late, and just sitting down and talking with your team isn't enough. So he just wanted me to kind of, us as coaches, to kind of share that with our coaches, that he's going to be heading up a committee to start having more protocol, more awareness amongst the NCAA and institutions. So that was an important conversation. Secondly, his year was very tough. I don't know if you guys heard, but the fastest sprinter in the pool this year passed away on his team in practice. Had a seizure in the pool, and yeah, it was pretty devastating for him and his team. And again, he said you never know until it's too late to take advantage of the time that you have. And Gary talked about that, touched on that at the very beginning of this meeting. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you. Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate that. All right, thank you, everybody, have a good day.
Might be one for the next-
Is it-